the Catholic Charities of Oregon, and this was a really unique one. I remember seeing you put stuff out on social media about this one. Yeah, give the listeners an overview of this project.
Yeah, I know that our listeners are wonky, so forgive me for getting so deep into things like the capital stack, but I have a feeling the audience is there. Um, so the Chiles House is a 27 unit multifamily apartment building on an infill lot on a piece of land that is like nestled right in the middle of a larger campus that Catholic Charities of Oregon owns in Southeast Portland. And there was this like little 1-story building that had a daycare in it that Catholic Charities understood to have more potential to serve more people through its redevelopment into a multifamily housing project. And it's a 50 by 100 foot lot, which is kind of this sweet spot in Portland. Most lots are that. It's like a uniform size, but it's also really small when you're a multifamily housing developer and you don't really get out of bed for less than 150 units. It's hard to wrap your head around these quirky little infill sites. And so the really creative team at the time, who was at Catholic Charities of Oregon, approached me and asked if I couldn't co-develop a infill housing project with them that would be really responsive to a population that they saw was kind of slipping through their cracks, which was kind of coming in hot refugee families and people who are in domestic violence situations and folks who are just skirting homelessness. And the reason why those folks were being served but not as responsively as they would like was because typical affordable housing development has many hoops to jump through to gain tenure there. And so we decided to create a project that was as lean and mean and responsive and adaptive as Catholic Charities needed it to be. And we got there by, in lieu of private equity, doing a capital campaign with donations that allowed that organization to eventually buy the entire project, buy out the debt, completely run the project themselves. And so as owner operators, they have that complete latitude to, evaluate their housing pipeline and to get folks in who need shelter in a dire situation. So that was really the kind of the foundation of the financial approach. And so affordability there starts at 30% of median family income. And conceptually, over time, as operations get more efficient, that will just be like a radically compounding affordability. It'll be as affordable as it could possibly be, which is pretty cool. But also with respect to that population, Chiles House was designed with these tenets of trauma-informed design. Are you familiar with those, Chris?
I'm not. I would love to hear more.
So trauma-informed design is a relatively, new topic of a new lens to look at design through. But the idea is, how do we create spaces that are healing for folks who are either in a trauma response or emerging from one? And so some of the design decisions at Chiles House were to eliminate the double loaded corridor and to make every door open to the outside. And what that does is it changes that kind of necessary moment where you're passing somebody in kind of an enclosed space. And that summer that we were designing was also some of the worst wildfires in Oregon. So it became, okay, well, how do we, ensure that you're getting a clean and healthy space where when when the air is clean outside, you can access it. And when it's not, you can have, a healthy alternative within your own living space. And, the final kind of trauma informed element of this project was the use of cross laminated timber. So Chiles House was actually the first mass timber affordable housing project in Portland. And mass timber has all these incredible benefits, which I'm happy to go into. But with respect to trauma informed design, there's this idea of biophilia, which essentially means, when humans are around natural materials and finishes, it feels good on our nervous system. It basically makes us feel
Right.
good. So these spaces are super light and airy, and the ceiling is like beautiful exposed spruce. And so it's not just your average kind of, very, I'm not trying to disparage it. It's not your average like chipboard.
I would say it's not a drywall box.
Right. And so that was Chiles House that opened to those tenants in August of last summer. It's been full for most of the time since then, and overall has been a great success.
Yeah, I love to hear that, and I will. I'll be sure to link both Chiles House and Rocket Empire Machine into the show notes, so anyone
Thank you.
interested can dig a little deeper in those, because those are really cool projects.